Welcome to Scotting Movies. Let me ask you a question. What if Goodfellas put on a pair of hot pink sunglasses, cranked up some talking heads, and said, you know what, let's get a little weird and maybe a little flirty too? That, in a nutshell, is Married to the Mob, the movie that we're talking about today. Mob comedy from the 80s, 1988, obviously, the year that we're talking about. It's part crime caper, part rom com. Um, we're going to talk about it today. It's one of those movies that maybe shouldn't work on paper, but somehow it might get some things done. Let's dig in. So, what is this movie about? What is Married to the Mob about? The setup is pretty straightforward. Michelle Pfeiffer plays Angela DeMarco, a mob wife who's done with life. Her husband gets whacked in the opening minutes, and instead of going full widow in black, Angela sees it as her big chance to escape the mafia circus and start over. But obviously, it's not that simple because the local mob boss is Tony the Tiger Russo, played with maximum sleaze and swagger by Dean Stockwell. He's obsessed with her. He wants her, even though he has a wife of his own, played by Mercedes Ruehl, who is unhinged and iconic. She's not thrilled about it, and so to top it all off, the FBI is watching her every move, thinking that correctly that Tony the Tiger Russo is into her, and they might have a chance to take down a mob boss. And the FBI is led by an agent played by Matthew Modine, who's half determined, half hard eyes for Angela. It's a mob movie, definitely, but it's also candy-colored satire of suburban life, romance, all the absurdity that comes with trying to break free from a world that just won't let go. So, let's dig in about some of the review here. Let's start with the performances. Michelle Pfeiffer is the MVP. She's the glue that holds all of this chaotic cocktail together. And she's not just a mob widow with a dream. She's sharp, she's layered, funny, just vulnerable enough to make you root for her. She brings real emotional weight to the role without ever losing the comedic spark. She's magnetic. You really root for her because you see something in her that's more of this um, every woman kind of character. You want her to get out of the mob. You want her to raise her child and be safe from the clutches of these bad mob guys, and you really root for her. Dean Stockwell as Tony Russo. I mean, he's on another planet. His performance is the perfect mix of sleazy charm and clueless desperation. He's like if a Joe Pesci character went to therapy once, didn't understand it, and just bought a bunch of leopard print instead. He's hilarious in the movie. Uh, Also has times of being very intimidating and menacing. He can strike a perfect balance in this movie, just between laugh out loud funny um, uh, and intimidating. There's a scene in the movie where he's in the passenger seat and the driver uh, and he orders his driver to go through a fast food restaurant, and they're asking each other what they all want, and it's just such a basic, everyday kind of thing, but it just hits so funny because it's a mob car full of mobsters that are ordering from the fast food restaurant. It is flat out hilarious. Mercedes Rule plays Connie. She's Tony the Tiger's actual wife. She's an absolute powerhouse. Uh, she's a whirlwind of rage, jealousy, and eyeliner. Every single second she's on the screen is pure gold. She doesn't chew scenery; she just inhales it. Um, and she is the most intimidating factor. And they say that Tony the Tiger is only scared of one person, and that's his wife. And you can see what, excuse me, you can see why when watching this movie, how uh, chaotic she can be. She rules every scene she's in. I think she was a miss in the Academy. She was not nominated, but she should have been. Unfortunately, Matthew Modine doesn't quite keep up. He's not bad, but in a movie this loud and lively with all of these very strong characters, his FBI agent feels kind of bland. It's like someone wandered in from a much more serious movie. He serves the plot, but you won't remember him 5 minutes after the credits roll. He's just not as important or as impactful as the other characters in the movie, and you don't care about him as much. You care about the romance between Modine and Pfeiffer, their characters, because you care about Michelle Pfeiffer's character, but you don't really want to see it because you want to get back to seeing her interact with Tony the Tiger and Connie and all of those people. This is directed by Jonathan Demme, who would later become much more successful with movies like The Silence of the Lambs and Philadelphia. Really high powered, high actor type of movies. He has a knack for mixing tones without letting the whole thing fall apart. Married to the Mob is equal parts hilarious comedy and equal parts gangster movie. It's mafia satire, it's genuine heartache. I mean, all in a movie that still finds time for a grocery store chase scene and a hitman with a mullet. The colors pop, the soundtrack slaps. It's just the whole thing moves. No dead air, no wasted moments. It's like Jonathan Demme grabbed a handful of genres, tossed them in a blender, and said, let's make this fun and make sure that it works. Uh, there's a running gag in this movie where the mob guys are just really bad at being mob guys. Their aim is laughably awful. It's like watching stormtroopers try to dress up in gangster clothing and try to shoot targets while balancing a gun like this. It Their plans fall apart in seconds. They can't hit anything. Uh, it works though because this movie knows it's a cartoon version of the mafia. Is it realistic? Absolutely not. Is it a deliberate choice? Definitely. The movie leans into its absurdity without ever feeling like a parody. That's a fine line to walk. It's really hard to walk that line in a movie. It pokes fun at the genre while still paying the characters the right amount of attention and playing them mostly straight. That balance is rare, and it totally pays off in this movie. Um, More about the costumes and the set decoration and cinematography. If you love the 80s, this movie is basically a time capsule. There's big hair, there's bold colors, synths, weird fashion choices. Everyone in this movie looked like they walked out of an issue of Rolling Stone and into a mob sitcom. It's stylish, it's weird, it's very committed to what it wants to be. Honestly, the aesthetic gives it a personality that a lot of modern mob comedies just don't have. So I've talked a lot about this movie. I'm wrapping it up here. It has good casts. At least three-fourths of the cast is really good. It has great vibes and soundtrack uh, and an awesome type of feel of an 80s mob comedy. It is very funny in lots of different pieces, lots of different places. It isn't a flawless movie. The FBI subplot is undercooked. Matthew Modine's character feels like he's just there to check a plot box. Those flaws, though, they barely register when everything else is this fun and sharply acted. It's weird, it's wild, it's deeply 80s. It knows exactly what it wants to be, exactly what it's doing. And so, all those things considered, I'm going to give it a B plus. Uh, Again, it's not perfect, but it's damn entertaining. Honestly, sometimes that's more than enough for a lot of movies. So, what do you think? Have you seen Married to the Mob? Is it a hidden gem of the 80s or a mob comedy that's too quirky for its own good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's chat. Let me know what you think. Let me know what movie I should review next, and we'll we'll see you next time.